Day night. It's 1 o'clock, and I'm sitting here having a lovely chat with you two lovely ladies and everyone on the chat.
That's right. And they're so looking forward to this. And let's see where we wanted to start. So I'm just going to ask you guys how you're doing. Like, Janine, how are you doing, really? Because, boy, you've been out there just, burning the midnight oil, right?
Yeah, I've been ignoring my channels a little bit, so I got to be careful. Guy's going to start complaining.
Yeah. You're not giving him any work to do.
Yeah, I'm good, though. I'm good. I've been catching up a little bit on my sleep in the last couple of days because there was a week there where I don't think I slept much. So, but
yeah. Yeah, I can totally understand that, but we'll get back to you and ask you a little bit more about the updates in Canada. And Catherine Edwards, how are you doing?
I'm doing really well, thank you. It's been a weird week. This time last week, we were without electricity, storms everywhere, loose horses, not mine, luckily, but my neighbours, everything blown over. So it's been quite a tumultuous week. But I'm really good this week. It's been a very, very good week for me. I've been really busy speaking to loads of really lovely people, and but I am ready for some sleep tonight.
Yeah, I think we all are. Actually, my husband asked me to stop drinking coffee because I'm not sleeping enough. It's kind of, I don't know. I go through these phases. I don't want coffee. I want tea, and then it's like, I'm all over the place. But so I know now, Catherine, you are doing like a new series, right, about manifesting, and is that a book that you wrote, or are you writing one yourself?
Well, that's not my book at all, actually. It was one that was recommended to my daughter, and it's one on manifesting. So I'm doing a series on manifesting and a series on meditation with Bryce. And the reason is just they're both things that I've been doing for a long while. And I was just really seeing that there's such a need for people to have, for people, a lot of people do meditate and manifest, and they go together hand in hand. But also, I think a lot of people are looking for some new tools to actually take them forward in a positive way. And certainly they've both been really, really helpful for me. So I'm just sharing them with others and seeing what resonates. But the response so far has been good. I am writing a book, actually, but very slowly, because like Janine, I keep been distracted onto other things, which are really fantastic at the moment. But I'm writing a book on messages from the animals and what all the animals have got to tell us about all this. So, yeah.
That's great. Well, with Janine, Janine, I have my own little set of cards, if you will, and I do wisdom cards. And there's one that says, notice a special person. And I thought, boy, that would be Tarot by Janine. She is so special. Everybody loves her. And so I put something together, and this is just a joke, people, but if it goes over well, Janine, do it. All right, so I'm going to share my screen here. This is just a joke, people. Just send your money to me if you want them. All right, so Tarot decks, Setting Raving Cards by Tarot by Janine. I think we should market this because, Janine, this is just so you. I think people have been wanting, this is just a joke, people. People have been saying, I want to learn Tarot. I want to learn Tarot. And I just thought, okay, this is great. I learned Tarot back in the day, and I'm not as good as you. I didn't do it for, 20 plus years that you've been doing it. But I just thought, Janine, I'm marketing you that you should go this way.
So you think I should have a deck? Is that what you're saying?
I think you should have a deck, and it's going to be called Sending Ravens deck. And I think it would be fantastic, as I put up there. I was just being silly one day and putting together a bunch of things. It took me about 10 minutes to do this, but I just thought, I think you would do really well with this, Janine.
Yeah, it's definitely on the back burner for a really long time that I've been thinking about doing a deck, but honestly, it's a time thing. Yeah. I think when things settle down a little in the world, I don't know if they ever will hear from here, but I hope they do. I could have time to do some art or get together and collaborate with some other artists. And yeah, it'd be really fun to do a deck.
Yeah, because it'd be your energy that you're putting into, and how wonderful would that be? Your energy going into these, and I just picked the ravens because you're all about sending ravens. I do remember the first time I saw you, and you were saying, "Okay, sending ravens," and I had to get on there, and I said, "What is this sending ravens?" And you answered me, and I was like, "Oh, okay, it's sending love," and I just thought that was just so beautiful. And then your daughter is also named a raven too. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a blonde raven, but yeah, I don't ask me how I got a blonde kid, but yeah, her dad, I guess, had something to do with it.
That's fantastic. So, Catherine, if you want to ask Janine some questions right off the bat, we'll just get going with this.
Well, okay. Do you want me to have a look what's coming up in the chat, or ask one of mine while I find from the chat?
I'm sorry.
Do you want me to ask one from the chat, or ask one? Right.
Well, did you have one personally?
Well, I'll have one whilst I'm looking for one in the chat, because I must admit I wasn't keeping an eye on it. So the first one I wanted to ask Janine, whilst we look for everyone's questions coming up in the chat, is I'll be very careful, Janine and Janine, with my words, with the situation that's going on in the U place. We've had really weird announcements from Bojo over in the UK. And it's just really peculiar what he's coming out with and everything. So can we ask the cards, what on earth is Boris up to? What is he playing at? Because it's Mr. P from Russia. I don't know what I'm allowed to say, what I'm not. Is really being heralded as Mr. Bad Guy, but it's certainly what he's saying, not going to wake anyone up. His speeches are cringy. I mean, if anyone wants to purge themselves really well, listen.
You mean Mr. P's speeches?
No, Boris's speeches.
Got it.
Boris's speeches are really nauseating. It's just embarrassing in every possible way. But we can't work out the purpose of them because there doesn't seem to be a wake-up message in them.
Okay, this is weird. Okay, so this was in the middle between these two cards. So in this situation, it looks like your Mr. B, right? So UK's Mr. B is in, and it knows about what's really going on because this is back channel deals. So he's made a back channel deal with even like in a really unique way, because this card can be unique or foreign or something really specifically different than what normally he would do. So whatever he's saying, I don't think what he's saying out his mouth is not what he's meaning. That makes any sense. And he knows what's really going on in the background. Okay, because this is the background card. He's coming from knowledge and he's in cahoots with whatever it is Mr. P is actually doing. So maybe he's spouting off stuff he thinks he will divert attention or not specifically say anything, because you're saying it doesn't make any sense because we've got surrender to, and then this indicates that maybe he knows we're really close to a big breakthrough where all of this can come out in the open, because this card comes out in the open. So maybe he's just trying to bide time for when he can actually say something that's real, because he's making these deals and he looks puppeted to me with that.
Wish they'd get a better puppet master. I'd volunteer to shove my hand up his bottom and puppet him. So honestly, do a better job, whoever it is. Yeah. Don't really want to put my hand there, although I do have the latex gloves. So, so say no more.
I have a question that it came from the morning show that I did, and they want to know if Janine and Catherine had a past life together.
Ooh.
Interesting. How do you feel about that, Catherine?
I feel that most of the people that I'm really connected with at the moment, I've definitely had past lives with. I really do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my interpretation too, for sure. But let's see what the cards say. So we've got the Chariot and the 2. Wow. It looks like we were in a really stressful situation as warriors in one of our lifetimes. We were in a really tricky situation, and we might have even been on two sides of a war, so on opposite sides of the war. But this card indicates that there could have been sort of a crossover at some point where one or the other or both of us realized that the whole thing was disappointing, to say the least, and maybe not based in anything we wanted to fight for. So we might have actually come together, because there's a karmic card here. So karmic lifetimes come together against the war itself. So we might have been pitted against each other because of where we were from, maybe, and then had a realization that this war is not about us. Like, this isn't what we want to be doing. And then it feels like, so we've got karma maybe because of that. So maybe even understanding, because we actually liked each other. So maybe even before the war started, we liked each other. Then we found ourselves on the opposite side of this war and pitted against each other, but realized that the war we weren't fighting a war for our personal beliefs. It was just because we were on these two sides of maybe of a city, or who knows, right? Two sides of a country, or two sides of maybe you were in a different culture and I was in a different culture, and we were in the same city and we had to pit it against each other. So we kind of figured out, maybe even started the process of figuring out really who the war is against.
Yeah.
Right.
It would make sense, wouldn't it? Because I think that's why so many of us, and probably all the people on the chat as well, can see through things so obviously, because we've probably been through it once or many times before.
Yeah.
So, we've got a couple of questions from the chat, Janine. For the first one that really came up to me is, sorry, it went through too quickly. I didn't get the lady's name. It was asking for an update on what's happening in Belgium, Janine.
So I'm assuming politically, or just around their life, like the world situation we're all in, likely.
Probably, yeah. Because she just said, "Can we have an update on Belgium?" Yeah.
Ooh. This is in the past, so I feel like there might have been capitulation because this was under it. So their governments might have actually capitulated to something more true and for the people. So I don't know how their governments are behaving. Maybe she could let us know later in the chat. But it looks like they're capitulated, like a lot of governments, to the good guys. But it would appear, so this is in between, it would appear, so in the general public, that things are really confusing right now. But a lot of the bad actors are getting outed. So that feels like an outing of and like who's on what side, and kind of what they're doing in Canada, it seems. They really outed a lot of people with that emergency act and then revoking it within days. A whole bunch of people totally sold out, even though it was a completely illegal thing to call it. It made no sense, and it hasn't been called since the 70s. And at that time, there was actual reason why a government might call that act, but there was no good reason this time. And it outed a whole bunch of people that were just given lip service to people, but actually, as soon as they got a chance, they threw all of Canada under the bus. Okay, I think that's happening in Belgium because it looks like there's people are being outed left, right, and center. It looks like.
Yeah.
But this is interesting because it says this is short term, so it's not going to last forever. It's not going to be confusing like this forever. Let's see I pulled these two for outcomes. Moving out of troubled waters within the next 2, let's hope that's weeks, but it might be more like months, where you're really getting a lot of clarity on what really is happening. Because a lot of what appears to be happening doesn't look like it looks like part of the movie, frankly.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was helpful, but.
Oh, it's always helpful. My question I'm going to ask a question here about, so you got Ukraine, and people, on the boob tube are actually thinking that we're going to war. What is it? And you may have already talked about this on your show, but I didn't hear it. We know how bad Ukraine has been with the deep state. What is it that they're actually blowing up there? The white hats are blowing up that they had. It's not against the citizens or anything like that. It's the buildings or something that they're destroying that they had.
Well, I do kind of have an idea, and then these cards are agreeing, but I got to be really careful how I say it, because a person that went near it got their channel taken down.
Oh, so don't go there.
I don't want to get you in trouble.
Yeah.
But let's say this. Remember Wuhan?
Mm.
Remember what was going on there? And there was something they were producing there.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's a whole lot of those kind of places where they make things.
Yeah.
So
that's what the black smoke is, probably.
Yeah, that are against humans. Yeah. So there's and interesting. They all link back to the U.S. Government that's supposedly in place right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's and I am getting, so they are really trying to be careful anyway. I'm sure there's some instances where people are getting hurt that is unfortunate. Like, I'm not going to say that's not true. I'm sure it is true. When you got things like that going off, you're going to get casualties. But this says that isn't the idea is not to get the population. So that's that truce. They're not trying to get the population. So it looks like it's really very strategic strikes, trying to keep it contained to these things. But, I'm sure there's going to be stories of incidences where people are getting hurt, though, unfortunately.
Catherine, I just wanted to say to you, if you see something in the chat there over to the right, you should be able to star it. And at the top, it says live and then starred. So if you see something that's scrolling.
Oh, okay. I didn't know how to use that. Well done.
Yeah. So star it, and then you could go into the star in that, so you don't miss the question flying by. And everyone, I just want to tell you that the what I put up there earlier was just a joke. And so there's a lot of feedback, Janine. I'm sorry about that. I wasn't sure which way this was going to go. I'm feeling bad.
Oh, it's fun. It was fun. It's a great idea.
Yeah, everybody wants it.
Yeah. It doesn't actually let me star them, Janine, because I'm not a host. So it doesn't. But don't worry, I'm busy making notes. So I have got one here, which I thought was a very good question that I looked. Sorry, I haven't written down everyone's names because I'm trying to concentrate on the questions. Is there going to be a blackout coming that will be blamed on the country that begins with R? We're being extra careful today, everyone, because so many channels are being taken down at the moment. So we know the audience is pretty well aware of what we're talking about.
I'd say there's a big possibility of that.
Mm.
So we've got cards like that. So surrender to, and then this is 50-50 chance. So it's something that's probably been planned with cards like that. I'd say it was been, and then this was in the past. So that's the desire. So that's a desired thing. Okay. So that is one of the flappy things that they wanted to do. Like that's something they definitely had planned. And then we got this as the outcome. So it's a strategy card. So I feel like there's strategies on both sides, pushing to have it happen and pushing not to have it happen, but it's going on both sides. So I feel like it's a tug of war at this point. It could happen. And if it does, it's being looked at really soon to happen. We could be days away, up to 2 weeks with that card. So it's something that's definitely a possibility. So if there's a way when I looked at it with Jean-Claude, it looked like it might be 3 days or so. It wasn't going to be 10 days or weeks that I could see, but I mean, I'm hoping I'm right about that. So you might want to just make sure download some movies on another device, or I don't know what you can do to entertain yourself. Get some
meditate and manifest.
What's that?
Meditate and manifest. I did it for 3 days because you can't even charge your phone or anything. It was absolutely heaven. It really was. But well, it wasn't heaven looking after all the animals with a head torch on everywhere. But yeah, so but yeah, it is a tricky one, isn't it? So okay, we've got lots of
people
questions.
Just being aware.
Yep. And prepared, because you do need to be prepared, because we do forget what it's like to have no light, no heat, no way of cooking or anything. So
candles and a little camp stove.
Yeah,
I got a little camp stove, and I'll just crank it up if I need to.
Yeah, me too. I do. So it's amazing what you can do on that. With my candles, though, probably the same with you, Janine. I had to be careful because all the cats jump up and nearly set fire. So I've got lanterns.
Okay.
Yeah. There's lots of questions, Janine and Janine, about Queenie in the UK. So we've been expecting to hear an announcement on that for a while now. Can we see if the cards have got something? Because that's meant to be one of the main markers, I understand.
Okay, that kind of to me looks like, so it's imminent with that judgment card. Where's that? There. Judgment card says that because that's something we know they've been sitting with that for a long time. And then this is I wanted timing on it because as far as I'm concerned, it's just a matter of time. I mean, obviously for all of us, I guess, but in particular to announce her passing, I mean, age and everything taken into consideration in the whole situation. But this is my February card, but this would be by the end of February. So that's not very long. So between now and the end of February, I would say that would have happened already.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking I don't know what they're waiting for, but we don't know what they're up to exactly, but
you know. What about, okay, so Russia's taken over Ukraine, but I know that it's already been done, right? And so they're putting all these pieces into place. And what about like all the other countries, right? Like they've talked about Canada becoming part of the United States. I don't know if that's even true and stuff like that. All these well, Ukraine used to belong to Russia before it was taken over by the deep state, right? So now that they're bringing it back together again and they're cleaning it all up, there's got to be other counter moves, chess moves, if you will, that I think are still being played out. What would you be able to, in the cards, be able to determine what the next narrative is going to be? So we saw the truckers, right, in Canada. Now we're seeing the Ukraine, possibly the Queen. But the Queen thing has been going on forever. That woman just won't die.
Don't you think also, everyone, that look at everyone on the audience here and us. Now, if the White Hats needed some really good actors and actresses, we've all available. We're happy to do it. I mean, wouldn't that be the best part ever? Because then we'd really have the inside information.
Yeah, I think we're kind of in the movie, though. Anyway, Catherine.
Yeah, true.
We're in the movie somehow, anyway. Yeah, you just got thrown in there by being in the truther scene, I think. Okay, so we've got the 9. So there's another country that looks like it's going to get
visibility,
some trouble. They're looking at another place while everybody's maybe looking at Russia. There's a whole nother place see that 10, and it's been on the edge or verge for a really long time. I wonder if that's the TAW place. Did I spell that wrong? TAIW? And then some other.
Yeah.
Right? I wonder if that's China messing with them.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Because they had some visibility, and then it kind of just petered out, if you will. It was like it was there, then it wasn't there. It's yeah, you're right. Yeah.
It could be. It looks like it'll be a country.
So what I'm kind of sensing too is that if they're putting all of these, they've already done it, and now they're just kind of showing it to everybody, right? So they have to put these into place in order to us to get to this unity that they talk about.
Yeah.
There was someone else that was asking something. What about Japan? We don't hear too much about Japan.
True.
Oh, good one. Now, didn't they early on drop everything to do with the agendas that everybody else is putting up with or has been?
No, I have a follower. Her name is Tokiana. That she basically says that it's the government are still kind of pushing all the in this, and it's still really bad. It's still really bad. But I was just wondering, like, if it's going to get any better or change, or they seem like they're behind us.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, in the past, so they were a deep state dark culty. This is the present situation. I think they also capitulated with that ace. And we've got that, and there's patience and perseverance. So there's some things, things have been put into place, but they're going to take patience. So it sounds like what she's telling you. And then this card's a patience card too. It's all about timing with that card, because that card, this guy waits for harvest. So they're waiting for some other things to happen first before things start to loosen up there, unfortunately. Yeah, it's going to be okay though. It looks worse than it is, you guys. If you're in Japan, it's like this card gets, things are getting a lot better. Okay, even though they're frustrating right now, they're getting a lot better. It's going to get a lot better. So I think we're over that, where things are getting way worse. I honestly see that things are getting better and better everywhere, slowly maybe, and we might have some setbacks, and we're going to have a lot of work to do. But I don't really get. I know there's gut punches and everything, but I think we've been through the worst. But that's just my hopium.
Yeah. Well, that's fine. That's good to have that positive hopium there, because we know it's almost like we know, and the ones that don't are struggling to try to figure out what is up. Catherine, did you want to take any questions from anybody?
Yes, yeah, and I must laugh because Mary's blocked. How dare I? And he was making a comment about RRQ, but he overestimated RRQs hugely. So I was quite happy. It's a rude comment. So one thing I thought was quite good is Israel still last. So right at the start, we were like, Israel is last, and Q said Israel's last. And then we've had various different iterations where it's been shifting around the globe. Is Israel still last?
Yeah, it does look like it. That the outcome is the world. So that's tidying everything up. So it has something to do with the very end of the whole situation. Right now, it looks like there's a lot of white hat influence there with that card and that 8. They've been working really hard on the area, staying safely out of sight, but working really hard on the area. So I wonder if anybody's from there, they could tell us what they've been seeing. I wonder what's going on just on the ground, boots on the ground. What are they seeing? But they're being overseen by Alliance and White Hats, keeping an eye on them. So I don't know if that'll help. If things feel bad, that would be helpful to me if I knew that. So I'm going to say that right there. And yeah, they're still on the very, something will wrap everything up there. Right. Because that card wraps everything up.
Okay.
So yeah.
A couple of people, which I thought was another good one, is that Trump was meant to be tweeting at some stage or saying at some stage the storm is upon us. So is that still going to happen, and is that imminent? The storm is upon us. You know that Trump was always saying the storm is upon us. or was meant to, as one of the final markers. Is that going to happen, and if so, soon?
Yeah, with his new social media, it'd be a good place to put those words.
It would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So I'm getting a yes. That's in the past. So yes. Wheel of Fortune. So maybe they had to step away from it due to unexpected turns of events. Right? So the wheel's turning. So, but it's still expected. And these two are on the sides. So that's my Mr. T in the white hats, or the alliance kind of card. And this is, so they had to step away from it, but that's a temporary step away card. It temporarily says we can't do something in this case because they don't have the finances, but I don't believe that's why. Something physical though. So it's something physically has to happen in a certain way first.
Yeah.
Physical, literal, because pentacles. So there, something's, they need something to happen first. I guess I'll say it like that. Oh yeah. Yeah, it'll be shocking, and all of a sudden just come up, could come any day here with that card. Like that's just like, depending on this thing that's been holding it up, it could come any minute here. And here's how they're going to put it out in various different, maybe social medias, and subtly. It won't be like super in your face, because then now we got the high priestess. So you'll see it somewhere, dropped somewhere, and then everybody will share it around. I really think they do that on purpose to keep everybody sharp.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And don't worry, lots
so they're
of
not going to take out
about the smoke. It's incense. So everyone thinks I'm setting myself on fire. I'm not. It's not got that bad yet. Yeah.
Or are you smoking marijuana? One or the two.
Bit old for that. So.
Janine, could you give us an update on what's going on with Canada for my viewers that may not be aware? What the question on here is from Rose is saying, is today the day that they arrest Mr. Trudeau?
Wow, wouldn't that be fun? I'd love that to happen. So just from what I'm seeing, I'll just recap. So that freedom rally went to Ottawa. They spent 3 peaceful weeks. By the 3rd week, Trudeau decided to do that big smash down, big fisty smash down, and then he stepped away from it. Various reasons. My thought is he's puppeted. He's been for a long time. No, never the same guy. Like there's 2 or 3 of them that they put up there. And interesting, they usually take the slimmer one, and then the very next day, the fatter faced guy. And then, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's really in your face that that's not him. But anyway, so I think they were just rooting out everybody. Like it's almost like it was a sting. That's what I got about it. So I think that was a big sting. Now we're still trying to figure out, are they still dipping into people's bank accounts? But that felt like a sting on the banks too, because now there's a bunch of legal things going after banks that would allow that. So the whole thing was very interesting and illegal and immoral on all levels, and certainly unnecessary. But I think that was on purpose to wake some people up. Now, the sad thing was a lot of Canadians are sharing, and not all of them, like not 80% or anything. I'm thinking more like 50% are completely still brainwashed. But they say there were 52% in favor by the week 2 of the truckers' freedom convoy. So that says a lot. Okay, so at least half the people do want to be free from these, because the real thing about it was they just wanted people not to be ruled by lies and fear, right? So that's really what they were after. They're not even anti, cures. They're not anti that. A lot of them they had these already. Like it wasn't about that. It was about freedom for the people, literally what they said, freedom. And it was a love convoy. I mean, it was like a love fest, but of course it was portrayed completely the opposite. They're gone so far overboard, calling them all these names and saying just how bad actors all these truckers are. It's like making out like truckers are such bad people. It's just absurd. Doesn't make any sense. So to me, that's part of the movie. And it was to out everybody, outing them out. big time. But unfortunately, there's still all of these bad actor cops in Ottawa. And apparently they're still roughing some people up there. So I'm hoping that outs also groups of police and people that would, I think they're bought and thugs. I don't even think they're real police. They don't even have numbers on or anything like that, some of them. So as far as I'm concerned, this is outing bad actors.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like that in every situation. You know, a lot of this was hidden and nobody paid any attention, especially from the political arena. Nobody gave a damn about any of them, right? They would just always say, we can't fight city, you know, we can't, you know, we'll never win. They always get away with it. I mean, I remember hearing my parents say that. So now that there's so much of this, they have to, it's a long movie. It's just all going to have to be played out. But as far as, you know, this goes, is that pretty much the narrative over with? And I should probably be more specific. You know, I guess it's based on country by country, right? That thing here, in how that's being played out. Is there a way that you could do like a pull the cards on everything as a whole, all the countries? Like, I'm trying to put this together. It's like, how far along are we with this stupid narrative?
Oh, this is good news. So She's Truth and Integrity coming out constantly. So huge revelations about what that thing really is. Follow the money trails. Like, it's so out there that unless you're only watching mainstream media, you can't miss it. I mean, if you're on any kind of social medias, it's everywhere. Would you agree with that, Catherine? Like, it's so out there when you just look around. Twitter, when you look at, if you're on, well,
just
Telegram.
my local news in Northwest Arkansas, it's unbelievable. There's a huge trucking company here, and I'm going to out them. It's JB Hunt. I used to work for them. Oh my God, talk about just being so corrupt. They are bragging on the local news. And where I'm at, Northwest Arkansas, it's not a lot of big cities or anything like that, very small. 3 major companies, Tyson, Walmart, and JB Trucking. So they got the whole triangle going here. Are basically bragging to everybody on the news stations to come in and still continue to get this, and to this day, and also get all the tests, the stuff that's going on. This large trucking company, and I'm just wondering, like in these smaller towns or even smaller countries, that I'm kind of concerned about that they keep. When are they going to be like taken down? Right? It's kind of
So they're the last holdouts. It looks like they didn't get the memo.
Yes, that's what I've been saying. It's kind of like, okay, Arkansas, the Clintons started Arkansas, and there's so much corruption here from that there. I mean, a lot of it went from Arkansas over to other states, to California. They took this guy called Billy Clinton, a nobody, and just made him a somebody overnight, right? So what is going on in Arkansas?
They do,
Mm-hmm.
That's what they do, right? It's because they need him to be a nobody, because they can erase who he was and recreate. But it looks like they're going to get him finally with lawsuits. Okay, because even though they tried to make it so those big companies that made those products were not liable, that can't be true if what their part of the bargain isn't true. So once you discover that everything's not as it should be, they are liable. So they're going after people, and they're going after heads of people, heads of companies, and the US is leading in that. And there's even lots of videos showing you exactly how to do it.
And the lawyers, there's a band of lawyers right now, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what country that the lawyers are residing in, or if they're all, start, like you said, if it's starting out in the United States, it's starting out in Canada, it hopefully will just snowball to all the other countries. I saw some things on here where they're asking about Scotland and Ireland. They're still saying it's still really bad there too. Catherine, do you hear anything?
Yeah, it is. It's still very bad in Scotland and Ireland. And interesting, talking about the legal cases, we had a big legal case submitted to investigate crimes against humanity in the UK, and it's just been chucked out. So this is raising a lot of questions. If the white hats are really in control, why are things like that being chucked out without even being investigated?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a yeah. And then we'll have a look at Scotland and Ireland because that's come up a lot. And don't worry, we've seen
the chucking out what I got before when that was happening in the US, because a lot of that was happening in the US where they were chucking out really good lawsuits. Outs the court system. So the court system is obviously also deep state, right? So everybody deep state gets outed. And in Canada, interesting, they actually had one situation that's actually saved the truckers to some degree, where they went to court about the gas cans. And that one where the guy said, well, yeah, they do have the right to protest, actually really gave them a lot of leverage. So it just, even if you can get one not corrupt judge in there, do you know what I mean? So I think it's outing them, because this is like she brings justice to situations, and see that 9 there. So that could happen in, like, I think they pushed it so they could see who's just and or integral and who isn't in the justice system. I think it's an out again. I think it's flushing out that swamp all over the world.
Should we ask about Janine number 1 and Janine number 2? Should we ask about Ireland and Scotland, because we've had so many questions about that?
Yeah, that's good.
How do you want to phrase it?
Well, I could say, is the issue are the tough legislations still in Ireland and Scotland due to the same reason? And if so, when will they be lifted? Because it's very different to in England.
Do they keep going back and forth?
No, just bad. Yeah.
So 6. So this is what it looks like. This is what's actually happening. It looks really bad. So I get what you're saying. It looks like they're deeply, deeply entrenched in that old system. Okay, so this is 6 is things are working themselves out better than you think in the background. So I don't know what's going on in the background, but it looks like we're going to start seeing it soon. You're going to start seeing them step away from things. And it's all a matter of what's going on in other places. And then you're going to see them start stepping away. So they're on par with, what was that place we were looking at that looks like it was Japan, was going to need patience and perseverance. It seems like there's hot spots that they're really putting their feet to the fire. I mean, Canada is one of them. And but Ireland, Scotland, looks like some places in Australia, New Zealand. We saw Austria was really bad there, might even still be Switzerland, I'm hearing. And you know, for a while there, UK was getting beat up. Then they moved off of them over. Yeah, it's really interesting how they're moving it around. But I always get, there's this big psychological, so we're being watched. How's everybody dealing with everything? And that it's almost like a series of situations that gets in there so people can never go through this again. It's almost like we have to deeply know what could happen and deeply feel results of this. And they've speeded up the process, but they're making us feel it. So we never let this happen again. We deeply know we can't. So we can't fall asleep again. It's keeping us awake.
Can I just ask one question that's totally off the board here?
Yeah.
So we had that, and I've seen a question a couple of times come up through here, and I'm curious too. So there was a news anchor that could have been tied to OJ. Do you know what I'm talking about? Who I'm talking about?
In the U.S., that big situation.
Yeah. When OJ supposedly had taken her life. And now she has kind of, people are saying she has resurfaced as Megan. I can't think of the last name for the life of me right now. But everyone is comparing, you know, when they take the picture of their ear, and the ear is in the same position, and they cross over it. And I wish I could think of her name. She's a news anchor. And I'm just wondering if I could figure out what her last name. It might help you out a lot more.
Kelly, Megyn Kelly.
Yes. Megyn is the woman that was supposedly murdered. Now Megyn Kelly. If the deep state was involved in taking OJ down.
So that was a big. You think that was a big one of those flappy things?
Yeah.
Or maybe more specifically a psyop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, kind of like they put on the whole show of the. That would be weird, hey? Okay. Wow, I've never heard that, but let's have a look. Wow. Well, even thinking about it and looking into it looks like what they want people to do. I don't get an ace, so I don't think we have a yes. The world could also be a yes, but I'm not seeing the world here either. So I'm not necessarily going to say, yeah, that's exactly right. But for some reason, they want you thinking about that. And then the judgment card, there might have been some monkey business with that trial for sure, that it was being presented in a certain way that wasn't necessarily true. So maybe we should ask something more specific, like, did that actually happen? Like what they went after him for, did that actually happen? Or was that a way for her to get out of something, or what was going on there? Do you want to ask that?
Yeah, because now that we know, about CGI and everything like that, and I'm just wondering if they were just trying to get rid of him or, get her out of a situation, if you will.
Yeah. So I'm going to look around what's going on with her and see if she's left us or.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty interesting. No, she's in hiding. She's been in hiding for years. How many years ago did that happen?
Oh gosh, I remember it. It was like 3 or 4 days long. Early 90s, maybe mid 90s, 1990.
Wow. So that's a lot of years she's been in hiding. And then so she's under the protection of, because this guy's a benevolent protector. And then six of wands. So to the good. So good. So she's in hiding by good people. So she probably wanted out of the club. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you better believe he was so famous, he must have been in the club.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't know why I was seeing a lot of that this morning, but then I thought I was always wondering about that too, because that was the biggest circus of a.
Okay, it looks like he was threatening to out them too. So she wanted out. I think he did all of that to help her get out. Wow. I would have never thought that, but look at how they smeared him though. So if you think about everybody they smear that badly in the news is likely different than you think, right? Mm-hmm. Now we know that. So yeah, he was making moves to get her out of there and even like bring justice to his family and maybe even get the heck out of it himself. I think he might have been in there since he was young, because I wonder, we'd have to look at who his family background is, but this is from a young person. He was involved. So he was probably an unfortunate or tricky character himself. You know what I mean? Like if they're altered or whatever, he was probably, but he might have come in and out of it. So he was probably dangerous to them.
Absolutely.
And I also got that, I just got it as a download, but I also got the lover's card around this, that lover, oh no, I got the 2 of Cups. That's what it was.
Oh, that one guy. Yeah.
That also was in there. Like, didn't she have a lover supposedly?
Yeah. And he was taken out too, supposedly.
Yeah. So I feel like he was in on the whole thing. It was
Ron was his name. Yeah.
It was a movie. What it looks like.
Wow. He probably was an actor too, right? Yeah, I know I kind of diverted it away from the current events and stuff like that, but for some reason it was popping in my head and I thought I would ask because I'm always curious. It was such a circus around all that. Yeah. Catherine, do you have any questions?
Yeah, there's quite a few people asking, when will Brandon, let's go Brandon, be gone in the USA?
Really good question too. Yeah. Yeah, they seem to be dragging him out, hey?
They certainly do.
An Academy Award goes to James Woods.
Yeah.
And Sean Connery and somebody else from England, Ray something or other. There's supposed to be 3 of them, I heard.
Okay, 3. So there's a little more outing of some bad actors. So this is has been my deep state card if I'm asking questions like that, and it's badly aspected with this. So secrets and devious. This guy, he's hidden. Maybe they're trying to flush out some other people by having him in there still, because this is devious actors and bad actors. And then this is the near future outcome. So that feels really like could be any day here. So he's getting flushed out any day. The last time I looked at it, I got that they were going to take him out by proving him not capable mentally anymore. But I don't know if that's still going to work. But a woman might call on him getting tested mentally. I don't know which woman that would be. I wonder if that would be that person they call the Ms. H, their second in command of that tribe. I mean, I won't say her name, but I wonder. The vice there. But somebody looks like they're going to call him on his mental capabilities, and then somebody with clout, obviously, who could actually have that kind of clout and get him tested. That's what I got, but I don't know. Who knows how they're going to do it. It looks like it's imminent, like daily looking at it.
Yeah. It's been going on a long while. Did you see that picture today that was circulating with him with 3 hands at the podium?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was wild. Yeah.
There's a joke in there somewhere. Yeah.
So funny.
Oh, my goodness.
So if this is all a movie, and I'm just going to want to try to put it in perspective for people that still are having a hard time, these people that are getting hurt, are these actors, do you think, that are a part of this? Where, they call them crisis actors, right? And are these crisis actors the ones that are getting hurt, and then we're seeing this, and they're making it out to be brutal when it may not be?
Okay, I'm just going to look around the situations where you do see people literally getting hurt or hearing about it. Okay, because obviously it's probably a case for case situation, right? But we'll just look generally how much. But the first card I got was a lot of it is falsified. Okay, so, and I'm not saying there's people getting hurt in this. We're in a spiritual situation in the world, and I can't say the W word because Guy said that could get you in trouble now too if you say that too often, so I won't say it. But we're in a spiritual situation. We'll call it a situation in the world that is waking a lot of people up to what really has been going on and how our whole world is different than we thought it was. So this magician card says a lot of it is not true. Okay, and they spin things, like even when that woman got trampled with the horse. Okay, everyone was saying, and people are still believing that she left the earth plane. She didn't. She got hurt. She did get hurt. But she came on and talked after, and turns out she's part of a indigenous tribe and like a clanswoman and a real fighter. She was even at the rally the next day. Somebody, like, they got pictures of her in the hospital, but then she was actually up and at the rally. That's what a trooper she was. But she didn't turn out to be an actor. She was literally just in the wrong place at the wrong time and got trampled, because things like that are happening. So some of it isn't movie. Like, people are, a lot of those thug cops, they're just, or people that they hire to pretend to be cops or whatever's going on there, they're really doing that. Do you know what I mean? I think this outs a lot of people and a lot of organizations that go along with stuff like this. So we know what we're dealing with. I really do. So, but real things happen, but a whole lot of it is fake too, though, just so you know. But then real things also happen. So I think it's a bit of both.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll take a couple more questions and then wrap it up. Unfortunately, I have another commitment here.
One question that's come up and again a lot is the president of the place that's currently supposedly being attacked, is he a white hat or a black hat? But not say his name. But it begins with Z.
Interesting. I wonder if he's really there anymore. We've got 2 10s around it, and the death card. I wonder if he's still if that's really whoever they got up there. I think that guy's long gone, rounded up, or it doesn't look like he left the Earth plane with no moon card, but he's nowhere near the situation. So he's been taken out of the scenario. This is in the past, very stressful. I feel like they had stuff on him, so he was doing things, caused him a lot of stress. So I'm not saying he was a good guy because he did the things, but he might not have been fully okay with everything.
Yeah.
So, but they took him out of there, and whoever they got there is I think an actor.
It's interesting. I'd have to start looking online to see if they're looking for people who are lookalikes, because there's so many lookalikes out there and actors. I've just never seen anything like it where you can find somebody, but I still don't think Bye Bye looks like Bye Bye.
No.
No. And really, when you look at Boris, I don't know. I don't think that's him either. What do you think, Catherine?
I definitely don't think it's him. I don't think it's been him for ages.
Yeah.
It frightens me to think there's 2 of them around. But it just doesn't look like him at all. The eye shape's different. The actual, he's physical, the slope of the shoulders. The slope of the shoulders is quite telling, particularly on men, because that's quite distinctive.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's him at all. But of course, it's amazing. They proved that most people don't really see. If your brain tells you something, you see what your brain tells you, not what you're really viewing. So it's very easy to fool people, isn't it? If you say that's them.
They just put on a really bad blonde wig on the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there you go, because he's got that telltale hair. Somebody probably in the movie industry created the perfect wig that looks a lot like that messy hair of his. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Janine, I have one last question here. I don't believe, and I could be totally wrong on this, that they're going to take down the mainstream media news. I just don't think it's going to come straight down. I think that they've been slowly replacing, okay, so you have Jesse Waters, who was on board with this. Tucker's some of the people from Fox are speaking the truth now, and it's really obvious with what they're doing. I believe that the white hats have control of all those other news stations in the United States. I don't know about the UK or anything like that. Are they slowly going to work them in, they're slowly giving us all the information?
Undercover. So they're undercover. They're still leaving it up though. See how they've left it up?
Yeah.
But like you said, there's things coming out undercover, and then judgment cards. So they're that's part of the wake up call. When I've been getting that judgment card, look at them. They're waking up people from the dead.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but they have to do it slowly because we're talking about people that could. Can you imagine? We're talking about this. It's even hard for us to stomach, and we've done a lot of down the rabbit holes. And we've been talking about this for a couple of years. And Catherine and I even on shows together for a couple of years, a year and something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we've been looking at this, and it's hard. It was hard to believe it, but we're trying to sort it all out. But can you imagine if you knew nothing about this and you thought that these people were real and everything they were doing is legit? I mean, there's been so many red flags, and some people still buy the whole thing, hook, line, and sinker. So can you imagine if they just dropped that on people? So I believe that's why. And it's the advice of these wise old souls that maybe they're our future selves. So they're more advanced humans. That's how I get that card. So they're somehow they have the wisdom of our future. Do you know what I mean? Like they can see maybe even into the future. Maybe they are the ones, because this card came up, directing how slow it goes to protect humans. Because personally, if I was in charge, I'd have ripped the Band-Aid off of it. That might not have been the best idea for the whole human race. Do you know what I mean? But part of my personality would have done that. But if you don't have an ego in it and you're just doing it for the best of the humans, I think this is the way they got to do it.
Wow, this is all powerful information. I appreciate it. Catherine, do you have one last question for your country?
I think what if is there any
I've seen a lot of questions about Poland. Is there something going
on? Let's ask the Poland one, because there's a lot of people in Poland and Romania, the two that I've seen come up a lot.
What's the Polish question?
They want to know who's running it, I think, is what I've seen it. Like who's in charge. I'm wondering if it's more like, is it the legit, I don't know anything about Poland, but is it, they must be having a really tough time there. Is it the white hat or the dark hat? Let's just go there.
Poland's definitely run by the white hats.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So a big yes to the white hats. And there's a bunch of armies poised there right now that are the good guy army. Interesting. Wow. In fact, there's a lot of activity there by the white hats. And it might even be the next one that really, it comes out really obvious what's going on there. Because that world card. So they could be close to getting a real reveal here, Poland, for some reason.
We didn't. I haven't. In the United States, of course, information just doesn't flow anywhere. But I can't recall really hearing a lot about Poland. But someone is saying there's a Polish election that's coming up, and so that's probably why they're all asking us about Poland at this time. So that's good to know that the white hats are out there. Well, I want to thank both of you ladies. This was a lot of fun. And I hope we get you back next month. I've been asking to do like a monthly. Janine, what do you have on your horizon that you want to maybe share something with anybody?
Just the usual stuff that I do. Catherine and I get together on Wednesdays. We weren't able to this Wednesday, but on Tuesday we had a nice little chat with Dr. Northrup. Is that how I say her name right?
Yeah, Christine Northrup. Boy, I used to follow her in the 90s.
Yeah, she's amazing. And Catherine arranged that. So that was really fun. And we're going to do a part 2, right, Catherine?
Yeah, we've got a part 2 in for, I think it's a couple of weeks' time. So loads more questions on that, which would be really, really good.
She's a good one. She was so big. Well, Catherine, you probably seen a lot of her books in the 90s, all self-help. She was, she's big now, but she was still big back then. Brilliant woman.
Yeah. And she can still maintain being big, even though she's telling the utter truth. Well, that's pretty good.
Yes.
She survived the canceling. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, I'm trying to think. She was back in the day, like Wayne Dyer and all of them. I got every one of his books.
Me too. Love him.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, Catherine, what do you have going on?
What have I got going on? I've got a really full schedule. It's really great. So lots of chats with lots of different people, trying to focus on obviously Janine every Wednesday, which is great. I'm doing a couple of series with Bryce. We've got you coming on in a couple of weeks' time with Bryce and I on our passion series. So just trying to really sort of give enough variety of for people, for tips and techniques to stand them through all this, because obviously, as Janine said, I forget who's Janine 1 and Janine 2, but people, we want people to be really enjoying their lives as much as possible. One thing we've learned is we just can't wait for this to all be over, because that's just a waste of all our time. So, and doing lots with my animals, and I have, hopefully, if all comes well, a new cat joining me next week. So,
congratulations!
From Romania, if she gets over safely. So, another Romanian joining my family.
Fantastic. Awesome. I'm actually starting a new series with a co-host. I'm not sure how often we're going to have this, but we've always talked about the elite. Well, I'm taking a stand and saying, since we won, we're all the super elites.
Yeah.
We can put our nose down to them now, right? So we need to, if you can't make it, you fake it. And we need to know that we are the super elites now.
Too right.
Awesome.
Thank you both so very much. And it's always seems like I want to book you guys right away, and it seems like it's forever. And the next thing I know, you're here and it's gone. But I just love both of you. And it's good to know that you had a past life together.
Yes, I'm sure we all did, and probably most of the people in the chat as well. I think looking at all the questions. So thank you so much for having us. It's always great. Love all your shows, Janine.
Thank you, and I love you too. And by the way, Catherine, I wanted to say thank you for jumping in in one of our chats one day. Everybody went crazy. Catherine Edwards.
Oh, I love to it, but I'm always walking the dogs when I join, and then I can't really type properly. But yeah, I listen to yours whenever I can because I love it. You're always so upbeat and positive. So.
And Janine, anytime you see me on there, you just want to say hi in there, that's great because it's so exciting for myself and for everyone that's in the chat too. Thank you, and bless both of you. And we'll see you next time. Now we turn the page. Bye now.